Hi, this is Emily. How's everybody out there in cyberspace or wherever you guys are? I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life. I've been thinking about so many things, and it's like I don't know where to direct myself. It's like I'm all confused. I'm 58 now. Thank God I still look okay for my age. But I'm like, it's like at most maybe I have 5, 10 years left in my life. So I really have to do something to make my life more uh, worth living, I guess you could say, exciting, doing something that will bring joy to my life again. I mean, as much as I feel like things are passing me by, um, I'm trying to reconnect, I guess, like it's all disjointed the way I feel. My whole life is very confusing, though I do consider myself pretty intelligent. And I'm not tooting my horn or anything, it's just that I can sense that there's some amount of, I don't know, like I have like a dry humor now that I never picked up on when I was young. I mean, when I'm in a situation, something immediately comes to mind and I adapt it to that situation and try to put a spin on it as if nobody else ever thought of what I'm currently putting out there. It's kind of weird, but I feel like I'm like 2, 3 steps ahead for some reason. And I can be like, I'm like, for instance, the other day I posted like a bucket list, and I was writing about like, you better start checking off things on your bucket list, not adding to your bucket list because you'll never finish. If you keep adding, the goal is you gotta start checking off, right? I'm not like 20 years old anymore. I'm 58. So now I better start checking things off and not adding. But in my post, I said something like, oh yeah, I said, I'm very proud of myself, and I recently managed to complete something on my bucket list. And I'm saying, yeah, I, I scaled Mount Everest, and I made it to the top, and I raised the American flag, and then I safely navigated down to base camp from the top of Mount Everest with my colleagues. And as I'm writing and I put down bucket list, that immediately come to mind. Mount Everest. I mean, I think Mount Everest, uh, tackling the most uh, challenging uh, goal would be Mount Everest. I mean, you got people of all walks of life who want to climb Mount Everest, you know. But I said like, yeah, I completed that, and then I said like, if you believe that, then I have a bridge to sell you. And it just like comes to my mind for some reason. I don't know. And then in that same post, I said like, I'm, I feel hurt that others don't include me in their reindeer games because of my red nose, my symbolic red nose. And if you know me, you know what I'm talking about using red nose. It means different, being different, because I am different. I'm transgender, and not many people know what transgender is, and certainly not many people understand what it's like to be transgender, you know? So I try to make it light, humorous. I mean, I've noticed as I transition from male to female that although I'm very isolated and struggle with depression, I'm happy inside, you know, and I can wear the clothes that I feel more comfortable in. And I have this desire to want to fit in, you know, and to be true to who I am and just blend in and not even give it a second thought, you know? Like, I'm hoping, like, tomorrow I'm going to a reunion for my coach when I was in high school for cross country, and a bunch of my former teammates are planning to be there, so it's going to be quite interesting. And I'll be honest with you, this is really my first uh, function that I'm attending where I'm going as Emily. I've never had that experience before. And I've been transitioned now. I started my transition back in 2012, around March of 2012. So you're talking about 7 years now, and this is my very first function going as Emily. I mean, there could have been other functions, but I wasn't invited. Like, my sisters had college graduations for their children. Unfortunately, this is a tragedy. My middle sister lost her son, 26 years old, and they didn't even invite me to the wedding. I mean, the funeral. They didn't invite me to the wake. They came by my house when Gregory was buried already, and they said, I have to tell you something, and they sat me down, and you know, I didn't suspect it was about Gregory, but when they told me he died, it was like horrible. But they didn't even invite me to the wake or funeral. I had to learn from them coming to my house, and then they did have the decency to take me to the cemetery so I could put a little something there, and I brought a baseball and a little Met helmet where they put ice cream. So I put that, and then my sister was laughing. She said, "Oh, that was so nice of you to do that." Because when my nephew was younger, before I was even married, I would take him and his older brother to Shea Stadium, and we would catch a couple of baseball games during the baseball season. So it was difficult, but you know, just the symbolism of going to the baseball game with my two nephews, Gregory included, I thought that was touching. And my sister said, and Kenny, her husband, said, that's so sweet of you, but you do know that Gregory was a Yankee fan. So as sad and depressing as it was, that was a little levity. So, yeah, but I haven't been really invited to any functions. This is going to be my first function where I'm going as Emily, so, you know, I'm nervous. I don't know how they're going to receive me. So, I'm just going to go as myself, right? I can't do anything else, so. And I think they're fine people, so I don't see any problems. They're all professional, good people, like they were in high school. So, anyway, I wanted to talk about something that's been freaking me out. I get very. I think a lot, you know? I don't sleep much anymore as I'm getting older, and because of my depression and my anxiety. But I think so much about things, like, I can't even explain it. Well, basically, this is what I think about. You know, like, I wish I could go out to California, let's say. Because I love California. It's a beautiful place, right? But I'm here stuck in New York. Um, I'd rather be out in San Diego by the beach or driving on the Pacific Coast Highway. The thing is, though, I've been to California. I went there a couple of times, maybe even 3 times. I went with a friend in college, my college friend from those days back at Hofstra University. And we went out to San Diego. I remember we landed in LAX and then we drove to San Diego. We stayed there for a couple of days. We went to Balboa Park, the San Diego Zoo, and we caught a San Diego Padre game at Jack Murphy Stadium. I think they built a new stadium, but that was when we went. We were at Jack Murphy Stadium. And we drove on I-5 from LA to San Diego. We stayed there a couple of days. And then, we also drove over the Coronado Bay Bridge, which was pretty cool, beautiful. And we saw the naval base. And then we went from San Diego to Anaheim. We went to Knott's Berry Farms. And we went to Disneyland. And we also went to an Angel ball game. And then we went to Los Angeles. And we went to a Dodger game. It was funny how they all were playing, the Padres, the Angels, the Dodgers. And then we spent the rest of the time in LA. We even visited my friend's aunt. They lived in LA, in the city. We had a great time. It was nice. And then I went out there again before I was married by myself. This time I went solo. And I went to, where did I fly in? I think also LAX. And then I went to a Dodger game. You know, this is by myself, so. And then I drove down to San Diego, kind of did a little bit of a repeat. I went to the San Diego Zoo, I went to the aquarium, and I went to a baseball game at the ballpark. I think it was still Jack Murphy Stadium. Then I went back to LA. I saw a Dodger game. Walked around Hollywood Boulevard. Or was it another popular street? I can't remember it offhand. Oh, and I went to UCLA campus. And then I drove out on the Pacific Coast Highway from Los Angeles all the way out to San Francisco. That was awesome. And this was in a rental car. And I went to see a Giant game at they were playing still at Candlestick Park when I went. And it was pretty windy too. And I remember driving into the parking lot and paying for the ticket for the parking, and I had a green windbreaker on, and the car I rented was a Geo Metro, which was the same color, teal, green. And I remember the girl, as if it was yesterday, say, "Oh, your windbreaker matches the color of your car." And I remember it because she was a beautiful young girl. And her saying that to me in the car, the windbreaker, being at Candlestick Park. Sometimes you remember things. I remember that vividly. And then after the game, I just drove from LA to San Francisco. Quarter game, I walked around. I went to Lombard Street, the Big Hill, Fisherman's Wharf, and then I went back to LA. Well, I did it all in one night, and it was fun, but it was crazy. But I was young. I'm not that young. I was like, how old was I when I did that? 61, 71, 81, 91. It's funny, I don't even remember. I don't remember the year I went. I must have been like in my early 30s, I guess. And then the third time we went, Matthew was a baby. I went with my wife and Matthew. And we went like in late August of 2001. And we went to LA. And we were hanging out with her friend, my wife's friend. They put us up in their home, and it was fun. We were there for like a week or so, and we had a great time. We went to some Filipino restaurants. Apparently they have a lot there in LA too. And then we came home. Oh yeah, we went to Disneyland, but Matthew was too young to even remember that. I have to take him out to Disney World like I promised many years ago. But we went to Disney, and then we came back home. It was like around September 5th. And then like a week later, September 11th, the World Trade Center was attacked. 2 airplanes crashing into each tower. It was crazy. Yeah, I'll never forget that. So that was like 2001. So now it's 2018. It was 18 years ago. Almost 18. Yeah, like a month away. No, we're still in July, so August and then September. Almost like a month, a little more. And then, what am I trying to say? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I'm thinking, like, I'm in New York and California, and I've been out there. So I think to myself, like, oh my God, there's life going on out in California, Chicago, Georgia, England, Maine, Australia, New Zealand, Alaska, Hawaii, Norway, Spain, South America, Canada, Germany, France. You get it. You're getting what I'm trying to say. It's like you're in New York. You've been to California before. At this very moment in New York, you're around in your own little cocoon. Out there, people are in their own little cocoons. In Australia, people are in their own little cocoons. And life is going on for everybody, life. And people and associations and friendships and, you know. And then you start thinking, or I start thinking, like, geez, I'm here in New York. There's things going on in California. And I'm thinking to myself, like, it would be so cool if you could be out there in a split second. You could be down in Georgia another second. You could be up in Chicago at Wrigley Field. You could be in Boston at Fenway Park. You could be out in Colorado on the ski slopes. You'd be out in Australia having shrimp on the Barbie. You could be anywhere, and you start thinking like, Jesus, I'm here. I'm in my own little world. People are there, and I was curious, like, what would it be like to be over there and mingling with those people, or in Australia mingling with those people, these people you'll never meet in your life, and it's just like crazy. Like, it's like it's like bizarre, like, gee, I wonder what it is out there like in California. Like, what are they doing now? And they're 3 hours behind us. And, it's just like these things come into my mind. Like, and it's like that since I was young. I remember thinking like that. And then I start thinking about my past friendships. Wondering if these people I associated with are still alive or not, what they're like, what they're doing, their families. Um, it's bizarre. It really is. I can't explain it other than what I just said. Um, and then I'm having these weird things happening, like I have phobias, irrational phobias, and this itching's killing me. Can't take it. My God, I was attacked today by mosquitoes. Oh God. It's one thing I hate about the summer. What was I saying? I was like, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Thinking. Oh yeah, I have these phobias, like, and I've been really like thinking of these crazy things. Like, I remember I did a tribute to one of my friends from high school days who sadly died in a car accident. He was only 17. He was my only friend that I know of back then who passed away. Obviously now we've lost classmates, but yeah, he died in a car accident. So now it's like when I drive, I'm like overly cautious now. Like, I'm afraid almost to get on the road because I'm scared that I could get in a major accident and get killed. So yeah, I don't know what's causing it. I mean, I think I do, but it's not good. And I also think of like social things, like how are people going to receive me. And I'm also thinking, because I'm actually, I got a scheduled date for my male to female transgender bottom surgery. And I'm having some mixed feelings about it, but I'm also excited. I've been waiting for this since I was 16. But I have this irrational fear that I might die on the operating table. Because they do give you anesthesia. Suppose they overdo it with the anesthesia and I die, it's scary. But I guess I can't think like that, it's not good, it's not healthy. But yeah, and then I've been freaked out about this poor girl in Japan who was brutally murdered, starved, punched, kicked, thrown weights at, you treated like a punching bag, and it just sickened me. It just made me depressed. And it happened 30 years ago, back in 1988, 89. And it's just horrendous what this poor girl went through, the agony. And what's really heartbreaking is there was a point where she just said, kill me now, please, just get it over with. I mean, these people, these four, I call them monsters, which I said in my video earlier. How could anybody do that? To torture a beautiful young girl. It was horrible, and that's been bumming me out. I'm very emotional. I have a friend who's trans, and he's getting mad at me because he's telling me, Emily, you gotta look at the bright side of life. You know, you have to be optimistic. The glass is half full, not half empty. He's a good friend. I love him, you know. We're on opposite sides of the fence. I'm male to female. He's female to male. So we're like on opposite sides of the fence, but we click, you know. We have a solid friendship. And then yesterday also, I was really happy. I went to get my hair done, and I went to see my friend Luna and my friend Ashley. Luna is the best. I love Luna. I met her when she was working in the Broadway Mall for a hairstylist, and I've been going to her ever since. And I said I'll follow you anywhere you go, you know, and I mean it. And yeah, so I had this idea that maybe I could film it, you know, and I'm very happy I did, actually. I asked her, I said, do you mind if I film you? And she said, no, I don't mind, that would be okay. And then I had to ask her again, if you mind if I put it on Facebook and YouTube. And she said, no, it's fine. I said, look, maybe I'll make you a star, a celebrity or something. Because she's good, you know, she's great at what she does. I love her, man. She's great. And she's beautiful. I think I have a crush on her. But don't tell her that. But it's true. I have a crush on her, but, you know, she's married. She's got 2 beautiful kids. So, but she's beautiful. I mean, if I was desiring a girlfriend and she was not in a relationship and I wasn't, I wouldn't try to, you know, have some dates, I guess. But if I was in high school, I would consider her above my league, you know. So, but she's nice. I love her so much, Luna. And I was very pleased with her work. She has the magic touch. So, yeah, I have fun when I see Luna. Obviously, I'm getting my hair done, but I'm also going to hang out with my friend. Plus, it's fun, you know. And then today was kind of like, yeah, today I did that video before I was talking about that poor girl in Japan. So I put my heart and soul into that video, and I was very upset. You know, it's hard to like yesterday I was jovial, I was excited, I was happy, I was joking around. When I was at Luna's getting my hair done, but today was totally opposite. Like, I was serious, I was crying, I was upset, I was over emotional, and I was driven to talk about this poor girl. And Juko. Sad. And tomorrow, oh no, actually it's later today now. It's already past midnight. I'm going to a reunion. I said this earlier, but it's going to be my first function going as Emily. So I'm kind of excited, but I'm also a little nervous. I'm going to wear this dress too. I like it, you know, I'm comfortable. It's very pretty, very feminine with my hair bow. So it should be interesting. Maybe yeah, definitely. I'm gonna bring my camera, take some video. That would be cool. Take some pictures. And get to see my coach. He's now probably like 80, maybe. It's a tribute to our coach from our cross-country days back in the late 70s. And get to see some of my teammates. It's gonna be fun. I'll have to tell you about it and show you it through video. And what else? Anything else for the time being? Let me see. I don't think so. Oh yeah, I met a couple of friends that I used to know. And actually, this was a girl I used to have a crush on too, way back when, high school days. Sandy. She goes by Sandra now. I mean, formally, Sandra Flug. Sandy, when the way uh, related to her, she's Sandy. Sandy Flug. I had a crush on her. I remember I did some really stupid things when I was young. Like, I was a gaga over the girls, and I remember I did it back in first grade too. I had a crush on a girl named Karen. My first crush was on my kindergarten. Uh, Mrs. Black Bear, I loved her because she really cared about me and she was dedicated to me learning math with my mom. So I loved Mrs. Black Bear. And then she had an assistant teacher. Her name was Mrs. Rubin. And I remember I had like a crush on Mrs. Rubin. It was so funny, so cute. Uh, I still remember Mrs. Rubin and Mrs. Black Bear, but I don't even know. I would suspect Mrs. Black Bear is no longer with us. Mrs. Rubin was younger. I'm trying to think. I was in kindergarten, so I was like 6 maybe. So Mrs. Rubin had to be at least in her early 20s, I guess. Let's say 22. So if she's 22 and I was 6, that difference in age 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 30, 16-year difference. If I'm 6 and she's 22, 16 plus, right? I'm confused now. 6. I'm 58 now, so 58 plus 16 would be 58, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72. She possibly could still be alive. If she is still alive, she'd be like 74, 73 or 74, depending on when her birthday is. So it's possible, but I don't know for sure. But in kindergarten, I also had a crush on one of my classmates. Her name was Diane Coffey, and she actually came from England. She had that darling accent that I couldn't get enough of when she talked. It's beautiful, especially from a young little lady. Um, and then in the first grade, I had a crush on a girl named Karen Wilhoft. And that was when I went to Catholic school, because kindergarten I went to PS 208 public school in Brooklyn. But in the first grade, I was in Catholic school, and I remember I had a crush on Karen, and I did some stupid things. I had like a card, and I put like $1 in the card, and I wrote "I love you." And I put it in the envelope, and I left it on her desk. Nobody saw me do it. And then she opens up the card, and I didn't even sign it. I just said love, but I didn't even put my name. I wasn't going to do that. And she opens the card, and she's trying to figure out who gave this to her. And I didn't say a word. So it's like a mystery in her eyes. I didn't admit to it. Yeah, so I did some really stupid things. And I was so in love with this girl, Karen, that I was talking to her in the first grade when our teacher was giving us a lesson, Sister Mary Reeder, who I liked. I loved Sister Mary Reeder, but on that particular day, I wasn't too much in love with her because I was talking to Karen, and she came up to me and said, "Young man, there will be no talking when I'm giving my lesson." And then she paraded me up to the corner, she hit me with the yardstick, and she embarrassed me in front of the whole class, and I was extremely shy after that. I never talked to girls for the longest time after that. So I was quite traumatized by it. But and then Sandy Flug. I remember in high school, I had a crush on her too. And I remember, as if it was yesterday, I had this little jewelry box, and I bought like an inexpensive watch, but for me it was a lot of money. It was like $30. So I bought a watch and I put it in the box, and I put it in her mailbox. But this time I signed it, and it didn't go well. She probably thought I was crazy or something, and I was very shy also. So it was hard for me. I was innocent, shy, naive. All I knew is I loved the girl and I wanted to do something nice. But the point of what I'm saying is that I became friends with her yesterday on Facebook, and we were chatting, and it's like, all those things. Like also with a girl I remember I had a crush on too, Rachel Fishman, and now we're friends. I mean, we don't talk a lot, but we're friends. And if I saw her and we went to a restaurant, I'd be very comfortable. When I was in high school, that wasn't the case. I wasn't comfortable with the girls. And same with Sandy. If I got to meet, she's down in Florida now, but if I said, hey, you want to get a slice of pizza if I was down there, I could do that. Same thing with Rachel. Maybe Karen too, who knows? And Diane Coffey, the English girl. Mrs. Rubin, I think I'm too young for her. But, yeah, it was cool. Yesterday I was mad at myself too, because I discovered at the last minute that I had Met tickets for yesterday's game. I thought maybe I did, and then when I opened the box and I saw that the tickets were for yesterday, I was upset because I wasted them, because I didn't even really have time to even go to the ballpark. 7:10, and I discovered it at like 6:15, so I blew it. I learned my lesson. I better start checking up on those tickets so I don't do that again. And now I'm supposed to have surgery in September, so I got a bunch of tickets I have to unload to people because I certainly don't want them to go to waste. I'm not even going to charge them, it's free. Here, take these tickets as long as they don't go to waste, But, yeah, I haven't been to a ball game in a long time anyway, until this year when I got a phone call from somebody in the Mets organization who asked me, to come to the ballpark. He'd give me a tour, and I asked, can I take my son? He said, sure. And he gave us a nice tour of the ballpark. And we went to the field. We walked on the field, took some pictures. We weren't allowed in the dugouts, but we could look at them. And then the locker rooms, too. We could look at where they go. And he showed us when the baseball game is over and the Mets come in to their locker rooms. They come in through the hall. So he showed us that. And what I also remember was they had like these big rooms with tables, and it was like a ghost town. There was nobody there, and they had all these tables. It must be very different during a Met game, but that was in the day when nothing was going on. They had a game later that night, and actually the guy gave us, Gordy, gave us complimentary tickets for Matthew and I to go to the ball game. And that was fun. I don't remember who they played, but I know they lost. Actually, this year I've been going to like 5 games and they lost them all, so I'm not really bringing much luck to them. Though I do like to be there. The only thing is it's very expensive. Like, if you go to concessions, even just me and my son go to concession, I wind up spending almost like $100. It's crazy. But I don't know. I guess it's the excitement, the atmosphere. It's like you're not doing it often, so you can afford to splurge a little bit, even if you don't really have the money. I guess that's what credit cards are for, right? Get you in trouble. Spending like 30% on a stupid purchase after the fact. And, yeah, that's about it. So I'm going to get to meet some of my friends from high school, cross country track. I'm kind of looking forward to it. Should be fun. I'll take video, share it with you people. And, yeah. Catch you on the rerun. What did I say? Catch you on the other side, I guess. I don't remember what they say. This is what I say. Goodbye. Right? And take a nice look at me, huh? Emily. See, I'm not that bad looking. I'm quite happy. Wish me good luck with surgery. Okay. And 3 months of recovery. Bye.